We are here at the Good Life Gang Future 4200 420 event, Long Beach, California. Super exciting day. We have had a full day of panels, and after that full day of panels, we are wrapping it up with one that's probably like the nearest and dearest to my heart, and we're talking about cannabis education. So we're going to dive right into that as soon as these handsome gentlemen introduce themselves, and then we're going to kick it right off. So I'm going to start to my right with Gabe.
So I'm Gabriel Rodriguez, Chief Science Officer of Optimal Genetics. I also have a college course at Long Beach City College where we're teaching cannabis education from start to finish. So we're not just touching on either extraction, growing, it's touching on everything such as metric, distribution, sales. There's a lot more to just cannabis than just the plant itself. So that's what we're going to start off.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joshua Haddox. I'm the SVP of Operations for Halo Collected. It's a publicly traded cannabis company operating in Oregon, Nevada, and California.
I wish you could have dropped the mic after that. I appreciate that you didn't hardware-wise, but licensed in 3 states is that. I mean, Joshua, that's sexy as heck. So, Kyle, try to follow that.
My name is Kyle Jones. You can find me at Kyle Jones at onlyfans.com. Oh, wrong skit. I'm Las Vegas GLG ambassador, partner on Consulting Futures, and a ton of other stuff that we're doing. We just opened up Future Compounds, which is the first Future 4200 and GLG lab. We make minor cannabinoids, all the cool, about to be really sexy stuff. And community giver.
Illni the Shatter Guy.
Oh yeah, Illni the Shatter Guy on Instagram, and then I'm this guy's side piece. No.
Nice. Who is that guy?
Wow, I'm actually humbled coming up after these guys. My name is Boris. I run a little company called Busy Bee, small family business, and we make custom boutique bougie closed loop systems and evaporators and falling films, and we do innovation and R&D and invention and trademarking and patenting, and we invent words and sayings also. And we have a small booth in Tacoma, Washington, where we're going to teach classes, and it's really more colloquial. It's not, it's about teaching the next generation how to extract on closed loop systems, with introductory butane extraction with passive recovery. That's what I'm shooting for right now.
I love that, Boris. Nate.
Hey everyone, happy 420. I am Nate Winokur. I am the VP at Bell Costa Labs. Been in the industry for about 20 years, the last 10 of which have been mainly focused on cannabis analytics. I also work strongly in cannabis education at a couple of different channels, but for the most part, alongside Gabe on the other side of this panel, working at the local college on cannabis level classes.
I love that. Thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. Gabe, really a lot of the work that you do here, it's Long Beach Community College, is that where it is?
Yes.
A lot of the work that you do is what we structured this panel around. So I want you to tell me what you do, how you got there, how it's being received. Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so the way that we got to having a college course with, Nate back over there, we're also a part of the Long Beach City Collective Association. So we help lobby against, having better access for the public here, lowering taxes, making it more accessible for the general user to have this medicine. We have to treat it as such. It is a commodity, but it's still, to me, it's been medicine for my entire life. Yeah. And with them and my colleague over here, we were able to make a curriculum from start to finish, like I was saying, sales, the history of the laws, metric, distribution, every single layer that's into this giant industry. That's what we're structuring, trying to teach the next person who wants to be in this industry to be prepared and have a position where they can walk in and say, I have an accreditation from a college that gives me this validation, you know? So,
Kyle, I want to jump around a little bit. Kyle, as someone who owns extraction companies, as somebody who, just launched a lab, tell me how important it is to you. Like, how do you vet someone if there really is no, like, what's a good resume builder for an extractor? This is new, and ETS is working. We got Dustin Mann is working on this in Colorado. I mean, there's lots of other colleges and universities doing it. Tell me how this helps you gain a good workforce.
Absolutely. So, a lot of people kind of come into the industry, and I've seen a lot of people come in thinking like, oh, we're just going to get high and chill all day. And it's not. It's a career. It's a business. People have worked 20 years, 15 years to get to this point. So unfortunately, for the last, 10 years or so, it's all been about kind of who you know, right? Someone vouching for you, saying this person actually is accredited or can do X, Y, and Z, right? So that's been really difficult, right? Because you have to take everyone's word. So the more that people can get educated and verified and accredited, the better. So for myself, trying to build a team, if I wanted to start building a team of new individuals, right, accreditation is extremely important, and there's just not much of it. So these courses and things like that, like Murphy does courses, Boris does courses, they're extremely important to being able to start building accreditation. And then think about the individual that wants to get into the industry. If you have really no background in cannabis, how do you get into the industry, right? That's super daunting. Yeah, and that's super daunting. I want people to be able to come get a job.
Staffing.
Staffing.
How about we train your staff for you? You send them to us. How about we train you and then place
Speak
you
into a mic so I can hear you.
How about we train your staff for you? You send 4 to 6 people at a time for a small class, or we train individuals and then staff them with people that are looking for placement. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of my consulting has been that, right? Where a company will hire me to come create standards and SOPs, and then train the employees or train a couple high-level management to then do like sub-training. So education and training and standardization is a huge gap in our industry that a lot of companies are starting to pick up on. So these courses are extremely important.
Joshua is nodding and nodding and nodding, and I want to give you an opportunity to chime in if you'd like.
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately what we're talking about is, especially with hydrocarbon extraction, ethanol extraction processes that are inherently dangerous, really creating a standard for the industry. That's something that in general we're lacking in the industry, right? If you look to oil and gas, for example, there's standard PPE that all the employees have to wear when they're working on the oil and gas rigs, for example. So setting a standard for PPE, setting a standard for processes, right, to make sure that people are safe, to make sure your employees are safe. Personally, we don't let anybody on a hydrocarbon machine until they're trained for at least 2 months, right? And even then, there's somebody supervising them. So it's very important that you take a gentle approach to these processes. Otherwise, you can put your employees at risk. So like we said, training programs, standardization of PPE, for example, would be something huge for the industry. And then generally, a governing body that kind of enforces these policies, that everybody can sign on to.
Because the one thing that we need in cannabis is more regulation. That's what we need. But
The one thing we need more of in cannabis is OSHA-approved Crocs for the lab. Lab Crocs or flip-flops.
C1D1 room and still
Absolutely, spark-proof. Yeah.
I want Nate from Bel Costa to because while we're having this conversation in the context of an extraction lab, you're in an analytical test lab, which is that glorious place in cannabis where you get to be a real live lab in the cannabis space. I mean, you're regulated differently. You have different access to materials. You have different access to machinery, and equipment. And so, and SOPs and benchmarking and systems management and all of those things are second nature to you. So whereas we're kind of like, ooh, let's introduce education into extraction, we could really follow the analytical labs model for what they're doing. I mean, that's standard lab practice, right?
It is. However, it's worth mentioning, too, that in the lens of education, it's really difficult to talk about it without at least the state, California, having these pretty insane standards for the level of education somebody needs to have in order to be able to have a performance role at the
So
laboratory.
you have to have someone with a master's degree to be your lab director, correct?
That's in the
You
correct
have to
direction.
have bachelor's degree. You have to have bachelor's degree, and this is not a certificate. You can't just go test out of it and get a certification. They need to have gone to school for 4 mother trucking years and gotten their bachelor's degree, and they are a lab tech, and that's a real thing. And you have a license. It's like being a nurse or being a radiology tech. And so, yes, that's overregulated, but it's almost where we're talking about going in extraction. So, can you speak to that?
It is a really interesting style of looking at things because the idea of having applicable experience that goes into these needs for an analytical role, you can definitely say can come from the extraction world. And I think there's an opportunity for some levels of crossover there in terms of people going from one to the other, even with the opportunity to possibly in future iterations of how the market's allowed to work, perform both of them at the same time. But with how it goes right now, it makes a lot of sense in terms of having the applicable experience that you need to have alongside your bachelor's or even a master's degree to have a lab management role. You need levels of applicable experience that go beyond even education. You're not allowed to just have that level of education and enter directly into that.
Right.
I think because extraction could be less restrictive, and when I say less restrictive, I'm comparing it to like, no one saw it coming level of restrictive action.
Yeah.
If it's less restrictive, it could be a really awesome entry point into what is a fairly difficult, side of the industry to start working, or at least to have some significant level, such as a director role or a manager role even.
True. Kyle, did you have a thought about that? Or were you just keeping that warm?
Definitely keeping it warm. Yeah, so, very recently, like in the past, I'd say 6 to 8 months on a lot of consults, a lot of companies are discussing creating their standardization of you must have a bachelor's or higher to be in the lab, even just for like a Tech 1 extraction tech. In the lab. Yep.
Not an analytical lab?
Nope, an actual extraction lab.
Certification.
Yeah,
Nope.
I agree with that.
I'd rather have you be a plumber and electrician. I mean, college is...
I agree, but that's how a lot of these big corporate giants are approaching extraction right now. So, if we see that wave, right, I think it's kind of up to us to help guide other individuals to potentially get careers and jobs before that kind of that happens, right? So it's going to be a battle, and I think that's where we come in and really help educate people.
Joshua, how do you work with a college program, and how do you structure that so that it's not only informative but it's relevant, so that we're not just cranking out people who have read books about chemistry but have done done the work?
I mean, I think that realistically, it's great to be able to understand the chemistry behind what's happening, and I think there is a base level of knowledge that is very helpful in the process. But at the same time, we're talking about a job that it's a technician's job, right? It's a cook, right? You're following a recipe, so it should be like very similar to a culinary or technical school training. In fact, I don't know about everyone here, but I've had a great success with people out of the culinary industry that have come into cannabis, in extracting and other things. Right?
Can we do it at Long Beach Community College?
Yeah. So Gabe can talk about that a little bit more.
No, but he's entirely right. That's why we're trying to do this program. Is basically a trade program. We're isolating every single aspect of the industry, like I said, growing, metric, analytical, and extraction, and all of that is going to go into its own beast. So it'll be an 8-week course accredited by the college of purely extraction, teaching you the trade and how to be, of course, safe in the lab, appropriate PPE at all times, just understanding what you're dealing with every single day at the lab. And that'll go with growing, that'll go with metric, analytical. So it's cool to see the industry go from where we were, and especially here in California, the 215 days, to now actually being able to structure and legitimize what we're doing now in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it speaks volumes for what we've been able to accomplish throughout the years.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like two things about this conversation, and I've heard all of the panels today, and there are so many threads that run through it that are really consistent. And one of them is early on in the day, someone speaking to, if you want to get into the Michael Mitchell talking about if you want to get into the cannabis industry, like, what do you like? Yes, there's that in cannabis. You like sales, you like marketing, you like engineering, you like chemistry, you like botany, you like, designing, you like design, you like visual design, you like audio, visual, whatever it is, you can find that in cannabis and then some. And I think that some of those fields, to Boris's point, are like trade school certification, hands-on learning. Some of those are, if you're going to be an accountant or a lawyer, there's reasons to do things. But I know that Nate's got something to add from Bel Costa. Let me hear.
Well, I'm glad you said that, though, too, because there are accountants and lawyers in these classes.
Yeah.
Really?
They want to adapt their business to being able to understand and work with and alongside cannabis companies. And they see a necessary part of that plug-in as existing in the industry. They need to know, what people are going through. They need to know the processes. The classes that we're running are fairly well geared, well intended, way to be able to show somebody through the lens of what kind of license, because all of the different, again, California here, all of the different license types are represented there. So depending on what somebody's going to be interfacing with, they have that. I even had, in one case, in the first class, I even had a bud tender at one of the local dispensaries that flagged me down when they saw me come in as a customer, and they let me know that they were doing it to help them, from a bud tender perspective, advance in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a class that addresses the fact that the difference between indica and sativa is made up? Or is that?
Yes, that a few
you do. Excellent.
multiple slides, in fact,
Good
and
learning. Good learning.
I know that my classes that I've built cover that, and I know the cultivation classes also pointed out the.
Brett touches on that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Boris, tell us about the class that you're offering, you're formulating.
We're going to teach a bunch of classes, but starting off with just introductory classes to butane extraction.
Okay.
Emphasizing passive recovery because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're classes on our equipment. So they're classes on how to run our equipment. We can get people certified. They can get placed in labs with people that run our equipment.
You teach them all your cool words and acronyms.
I teach them all my. It's basically half comedy and half tech.
Okay.
Honestly, it can diverge into any subject.
At any given time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
people trying to rein it in. But...
Tell me. I might be cynical.
Okay, please. Throw it at me.
I worked for a manufacturer, and one of my jobs was training service people in the field. So like when you call to get your washer fixed, you're not calling Maytag, you're calling Joe's Appliance Repair in the town where you live, and he's going to come over and do it. But he was trained by Maytag. Right. So I would be in charge of training service techs.
Third-party service techs?
Yes.
Okay.
And it made my life easier to have well-trained people. Is it partly going to behoove you moving forward to have more people trained on your equipment because you have less hand-holding to do because the people doing it aren't learning as they go, but they've already learned. So is it also something that's going to benefit you in the long run, benefit the company?
So we actually have a long-term market strategy surrounding this topic, which
I just revealed it. Is
well,
that what
no, you
just
didn't reveal it
happened?
at all. You
It was
just
so
set me
organic.
up.
It
You
was
just gave me
beautiful.
like one of these.
Because I'm the ringer.
So you are the ringer, dang. So we have these things we call Wrangler affiliates, and they're sort of like deputized clients of ours, or clients who we like, clients who are sharp, who know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But like roughly in a nutshell, if you bought a system, you can refer someone to us and you can get a small commission. It's not huge. It's like selling real estate, 3%.
Sure.
But these are real estate sometimes priced systems. And so if you either work for a company, if you work for a famous brand, like Beazle or 710 Labs, or I don't know, Canacraft, or who else is super heady that we work with? Raw Garden. Oh, shit, you have your own brand. Let's plug you.
Well, no, I'm with Optimal Genetics right now. But remember, I built my first machine with you in 2016.
16 or 17 at the university place?
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's
yeah. OG
Anyways.
Wrangler.
OG Wrangler. So if you're like this, a OG Wrangler, a Wrangler affiliate, or you can even buy the status. It's like buying a knighthood in England. Like you pay us $3,000, we give you a special one-on-one class in the booth, and then we'll give you 3%. It's actually there's an incentive structure to close quickly. So what we want are people to show demos on their own systems and then essentially sell what we call a demo design consultation. It's like a in real life experience with us at our facility. And it costs $1,000, but we give it back to you as credit to buy a system.
Nice.
So quite literally it's free if you're not wasting our time. And it's a great deal for a day of hanging out with us. We show you demos on all the systems. We call it Disneyland. The demos are the rides.
Disneyland.
We also have Disney World Orlando, 5 minutes away. That's where the showroom and the booth is. And then but yeah, and then Calvin and Kyle, one of them usually leads the tour, and I come and hang out if I'm available, and we do drawings on the whiteboards, and we plan a system. We take your measurements for a custom suit, and we explain the scale up and all that stuff. We can start with the $1 million invoices. We can start with a $15,000 invoice.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Kyle.
So, what we've like kind of announced it, but not like super hard. So what we're doing is Good Life Gang certification, right? So that's GLG. That's us taking everything that we have and putting them into textbooks. So me, Dustin, and a couple other people, we wrote a general extractor's handbook. Yeah, I mean, you can write in it, please. So it's just, we're starting there, right? The general extractor's handbook, it's kind of like, what is extraction, okay? We're gonna release that. It'll be completely free. If you wanna level up and read it, free. Have it, learn it, take it, consult on it, whatever you want.
Classes on it?
Then, if you wanna take a test, $50, you get certification. And it's actually a pretty hard aptitude test. So with that is, if you wanna level up and just learn, cool. If you want to take the test, the $50, that's nothing. Everyone thinks we're crazy for doing it so cheap, right? We want people to be able to get accredited from our network. So then we'll go to advanced handbooks, we'll go to lab owners, we'll do analytics, and that's what we'll reach out to these individuals. Like we'll grab Murphy and do safety, we'll grab Nate and do analytics, we'll grab Boris and do specifically hydrocarbon. Passive hydrocarbon. Active hydrocarbon, what is that, right?
Dejanglification 101.
Yep.
So how does this fit in? So you're hearing, so this side of the table, like Long Beach College, right?
Right.
You're hearing what's going on there. Tell me how this dovetails and how you see both of what you're doing working together. Because I want to know more about working together. Joshua or Gabe, can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think I think that training coming from anywhere is great. Anybody that knows what they're doing, right? Anybody with experience in the industry. I don't think that any should be mutually exclusive. I think participating in all is great, or one or the other. But I do think that like we stated earlier, a technical program really is necessary for a lot of the roles that are emerging in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think where this can dovetail is exactly what Gabe is doing, right? Where he may have myself or someone from GLG or GLGC come in for a portion of the course, right? Or a portion of the, was it 6 weeks?
It's going to be an 8-week course.
8-week course, right? Really? I'll come in for 2 days and things like that.
Yeah, it's actually Tuesday is the next class. My class is the following Tuesday. Well, it's all online, so yeah. I know, yeah.
So let's do that.
And I was so ready with my whiteboard tech. I was so excited to have like an actual college-sized whiteboard. I was like, oh, dude, this is gonna be so fun.
Gabe, we're gonna start with you and we're gonna go down the line.
Cool.
I want to make sure that people have access to you, so I want you to say your name, be clear about it. What's your Instagram? How do they get a hold of you? How do they find out more about Long Beach College course? And then I want y'all to do that and we'll wrap it up. Of course.
So like I said earlier, Gabe Rodriguez, Chief Science Officer of my company, Optimal Genetics. We have a Type 7 license here in Long Beach, California. My personal Instagram is Rate My Weed. And you could follow me there, message me about the course. Usually I would have to send out a link. You can't go on, or can you go on Long Beach City College and look up Cannabis Education 101?
You can look up the class. It'll tell you as far as the last time I checked.
Okay, well, the first time we did it, this is our third class now. The first time you couldn't look it up, so I guess you can look it up. So longbeachcitycollege.edu, and then look up Cannabis Education 101.
Thank you, Gabe.
And I'm Joshua Haddox, the SVP of Operations for Halo Collective. We're on Instagram at Halo Collective Inc. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you, Joshua.
Hey, I'm Kyle Jones, Illinois the Shatter Guy on Instagram, Las Vegas GLG Ambassador Partner. You can also check out our new lab on IG, which is at Future Compounds on Instagram. And then GLGC, which will be Good Life Gang certification. That website will be popping up soon. Yeah, we're out there.
Thanks, Kyle. Boris.
Boris, BusyBee999 on Instagram. Hit me up in the DM. You can get my number there as well. Please text me, and I will tell you everything.
All right, Nate from Bel Costa.
Please follow Bel Costa Labs, and I'm able to be found online and Instagram at Cannacentric with CANNACENTRIC. And yeah, thank you guys, and happy 420.
I just want to I want to thank you guys. The comments have been pretty amazing, and you all contribute so much and have done so much for the industry and have been here. I mean, when you're as old as Boris and you've been doing this.
I don't know if that was a compliment.
Absolutely. I appreciate what you're doing, teaching cannabis at a college, talking. This has been an awesome conversation. I'm thankful to you guys, and I just wish you all the best in your personal and professional and business. I wanted to have this conversation again, and I want to keep seeing this grow. So thank you so much. Good Life Gang, Future 4200.
Also, SoCal ambassadors. Forgot to mention that.
SoCal ambassadors for Good Life Gang.
And I do want
Good
to.
Life Gang.
And Wrangler,
You know,
and
yeah.
Wrangler. It's like holding 2 passports. That's like
what I was
dual
trying to
citizenship.
I do want to state this is the last panel for
It
the day.
is.
I do want to state that we have the best fucking community out there. I mean, everyone is down to help each other, level up. I've literally watched every single person help somebody else get to that next step.
Amen.
No one's too low or too high to help each other. And I think if we just keep that going, it just builds so many bridges. Someone will always have a way to get to that next level. And that's truly what we're about. So thanks to everyone in the community. It's the best community I've ever been in. So,
Amen.
happy 420.
Happy 420.